Actually, it's not the, oh my goodness, I'm always doing videos. The Fearless Online Entrepreneur Hangout. We just want to thank you for coming out to hang out with us today in our mastermind session. And we are excited to have our panelists with us. I love these ladies. They are simply amazing. We have Deborah Barton Burton. We have Lorraine Scotto Blake. We have Sharon Sutherland. We have Scarlett Rogers. And we have Terry. You know what, Terry? What is your last name? Because I haven't worked on that one yet. Y'all gonna have to help me. Terry, trust me, you got to know the story. Each one of these ladies' name, I had to work on it for a long time to get it right.
My real name is Teresita Lewis. Call me Terry, and it's Terry Lewis.
Terry Lewis. Okay, Terry, I think yours is going to be easy for me to remember. So without further ado, we have come to the conclusion that we're only going to do this for 30 minutes. So I want to move out of the way so that we can learn from Jack Canfield. We are reading from the Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and what we're going to do is we'll read a section, then we'll come back and we'll mastermind on the session. And before I get started, I want to encourage you to come over to Fearless Online Entrepreneurs, where we have a group on Facebook where you can come in, ask your questions, you're needing help with starting a business, or if you're struggling in an area, we're here to help you. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started our reading. We're on chapter number 20. So ladies, does any one of you want to jump out and start with the reading? Anyone?
I can go ahead.
I'll start, Rachel.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. Then Lorraine could be next.
Okay. Commit to constant and never-ending improvement. We have an innate desire to endlessly learn, grow, and develop. We want to become more than what we already are. Once we yield to this inclination for continuous and never-ending improvement, we lead a life of endless accomplishments and satisfaction. That's said by Chuck Galassi. People call me a perfectionist, but I'm not. I'm a rightist. I do something until it's right, and then I move on to the next thing. That's said by James Cameron. He's an Oscar-winning director of Titanic and the Terminator series. In Japan, the word for constant and never-ending improvement is kaizen. Not only is this an operating philosophy for modern Japanese businesses, it is also the age-old philosophy of warriors, too. And it's become the personal mantra of millions of successful people. Achievers, whether in business, sports, or the arts, are committed to continual improvement. If you want to be more successful, you need to learn to ask yourself, how can I make this better? How can I do it more efficiently? How can I do this more profitably? How can we do this with greater love? The mind-nudging pace of change. In today's world, a certain amount of improvement is necessary just to keep up with the rapid pace of change. New technologies are announced nearly every month, really like every day now. New manufacturing techniques are discovered even more often. New words come into use anytime a trend or fad catches on. And what we learn about ourselves, about our health, and about the capacity for human thought continues almost unabated. Improving is therefore necessary simply to survive, but to thrive. As successful people do, a more dedicated approach to improvement is required. You want to stop there, Mastermind, or you want me to read the next one? In small increments, whenever you set out to improve your skills, change your behavior, or better your family, life, or business, beginning in small, manageable steps gives you a greater chance of long-term success. Doing too much too fast not only overwhelms you or anyone else involved in the improvement, it can doom the effort to failure. Therefore, reinforce the belief that it's difficult. It's, if not impossible, to succeed. When you start with small, achievable steps, you can easily master it, reinforcing your belief that you can easily improve. Decide what to improve on. At work, your goal might be for your company to improve the quality of your product or service, your customer service program, or your advertising. Professionally, you might want to improve your computer skills, your typing speed, your sales skills, or your negotiating skills. At home, you might want to improve your parenting skills, communication skills, or cooking skills. You could also focus on improving your health and fitness, your knowledge of investing and money management, or your piano playing. Or perhaps you want to develop greater inner peace through meditation, yoga, and prayer. Whatever your goal, decide where you want to improve and what steps you'll need to take to achieve that improvement. Is it learning a new skill? Perhaps you can find that in a night class at the local community college. If it's improving your service to the community, perhaps you can find a way to spend an extra hour per week volunteering. To keep yourself focused on constant and never-ending improvement, ask yourself every day, how can I or we improve today? How can I or we do better than before? Where can I learn a new skill or develop new competency? If you do, you'll embark on a lifelong journey of improvement that will ensure your success.
Wow, Deborah, that was some great reading and a lot of value that was provided to us all. And I just think that, once you get your mindset right and once you understand what you need to do to get to the next step, you can achieve anything you want. And I like how he put in here, decide what to improve on. Once you sit down and realize what you need to improve on, what skills, what mindset, what goals, whatever, you can achieve them. Improve your parenting skills. A lot of us sometimes, we parent, but we don't like what we see or how we do things. Then you need to sit down and think about, how can I improve my parenting skill? What can I do to help motivate my child? And then once you sit down and think about all of this, then go out and do it, as well as your communication skills and cooking skills. If there are things out there that you want to improve on or develop, then you need to go out there and take the first step. At the beginning of the year, everybody talk about, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape. But do they do it for that short period of time and then they stop? Why is that? They don't have the mindset to stay focused on what they want to do. They want the end result, but they don't want to do all the time, energy, and that is required to get to where they want to be. As well as, if you have funds that you want to grow and you have a specific amount of time that you want to develop, to have a certain amount of money, then you need to check out the investment and management companies to say, okay, go meet with them. How can I achieve my goals and dreams of my financial situation? And I want to get to this dollar amount by this time. What do I need to do to get to that point? Then they can tell you how much you need to invest in it, what time is, how long is it going to take, and then you start working on those goals and those dreams of achieving the financial part of your portfolio so that you can get what you need. So, you need to sit down and think about everything, and then once you figure out how you want to improve on your skills, then go after it. Make it happen.
Absolutely, Sharon. Thank you very much for jumping in us with Deborah and sharing that portion. And what I wanted to add to that was last week after we ended our session on feedback, we're talking about, becoming a better you. And one of the things that we learned last week is feedback is crucial to that process. And so, Sharon, you mentioned about being a better parent, being, and so there was two powerful questions that were asked last week on the homework assignment. I don't know how many of you we had a chance to do it, but the question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the quality of our relationship during the last 2 weeks or last week? Now, this is one of the questions that my husband and I ask each other every week on our date night. And we don't use the 1 to 10, which I think I'm going to add a 1 to 10 to it because I really like it. But, we always ask ourselves the question, each other, how did I best meet your needs this week? So I'm going to put 1 to 10 today because I think that's really powerful because, and this should happen because it helps you to get on track and it helps you to get to the point where you need to go in your relationships with, whether it's marriage, whether it's your children, whether it's your business, whether it's your team. It's a really, really powerful question, and most people don't want feedback. And some people don't want to give it because they are afraid that you're not going to receive it openly. But we should always be at a point where we're ready to receive it, because one of the questions or one of the guidelines that were taught to us was to always don't take it offense. If they give you an answer, don't be offensive about it. Just receive it so that it can help you to become better. And so what Jack Canfield says is, if I get a number lower than a 10, his next question is, what would it take for me to make it a 10? So, it doesn't matter what you're doing in your life, in your relationships. Always ask that question. That is the most valuable question that you could ever ask anyone that you have a relationship with. And what it will do is it will keep you on course, so that we talked about on course, off course, on course, off course. Asking that question will always keep you on course. And then, something else that that really stood out to me from that, he said what to do when the feedback tells you have failed. So sometimes, and this is all in line with being a better person, sometimes we'll get feedback that is not favorable. And so what the things that he suggested that you do, and I'm just going to read this. He says, when all indicators say you have failed, there are a number of things you can do to respond appropriately and keep moving forward. One is acknowledge you did the best you could with this awareness, knowledge, and skill you had at the time. 2 is to acknowledge that you survived and you can absolutely cope with any and all of the consequence results. 3, write down everything you learned from the experience. Write all of your insights and lessons down in a file on your computer, a journal called Insights and Lessons. Read through this file often. Ask others involved, your family, your team, your employees, your clients, and others when they learn. I often have my staff write, I learned that, at the top of a piece of paper, and then write as much as they can think of in a 5-minute period. Then we make a list under the heading of ways to do it better next time. Number 4, he says, make sure to thank everyone for their feedback and their insight. If someone is hostile in the delivery of their feedback, remember that it is an expression of their level of fear, not your level of incompetence or unlovability. Again, just thank them for their feedback. Explaining, justifying, and blaming are all wastes of everybody's time. Just take in the feedback, use whatever is applicable and valuable for the future, and discard the rest. And number 5, he says, clean up any messes that you have created and delivered, and any communication that are necessary to complete your experience, including any apologies or regrets that are due. Do not try to hide the failure. Number 6, take some time to go back, review your success. It's important to remind yourself that you have had many more successes than you have had failures. You've done many more things right than you've done wrong. 7, regroup. Spend some time with positive, loving friends, family, and coworkers who can reaffirm your worth and your contribution. And the last one is Refocus on your vision, incorporate the lessons learned, recommit to your original plan, or create a new plan of action, and then get on with it. Stay in the game. Keep moving toward the fulfillment of your dreams. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. Dust yourself off, get back on your horse, and keep riding. That was really, really powerful for me. And when I think about becoming a better person, all of those things were so really important. I actually had an opportunity on Friday to speak to one of our teammates, or one of our, I don't know, but just, you know, the conversation was really, really good. And the feedback that came back, you know, it gave me an opportunity to evaluate myself, what I'm doing. And that's what it's about, you know, because I want to be on course. And sometimes we get off course. Sometimes we don't, you know, really, you know, we're kind of, you know, feeling the way. And you're not going to always get it right. And that's why feedback is so important. So, ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing. I'm just looking forward to what anyone else has to say. Anyone else have anything they want to share or add to take away?
Well, Rachel, I like what you just said. To add to that is, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And on the spiritual side of things, we are naturally connected. We're not here to hurt each other. Mm-hmm. When someone comes into your life, they're there to either improve it or show you where you need to focus improvement. In a spiritual nature, we are connected. So whatever we do to one another, we're actually doing it to ourselves. So remember, it's never about the personal aspects of fear or rejection. Is simply pointing out to you where you need to improve. And it's on the basis of what you just said. You gave the steps of how to evaluate self, and those are good steps. You know, it's funny, fear, because of circumstances, emotional attachment to circumstances, will put those seeds in place that we will reject what is actually there to improve us. Now, because I've learned that, everyone in my life, I'm open to feedback as long as it's constructive criticism. If it comes in an attackful way, then yeah, I'm not seeking to be right. I'm seeking to understand what is really going on with that person, because I've also come to learn that person is rejecting whatever I'm mirroring for them to improve. So I have my coach, God bless her. I love the way Jeannie helped me walk through some issues I had this week. And this weekend we talked yesterday, and she had me rolling because she said, Deb, how many times I got to tell you, it's not how you say, it's not what you say, but how you say it. And there was that reminder to me. And I said, you know what? When I did it, I knew that I was wrong. And I apologized that we had a one-on-one, and I said, this worked out fine in the end. But at the same time, we do have to seek to understand each other, because I might use a word, and I had this situation this weekend too, and my definition of that word might be completely different. And we can, unconscious of it, ruin a good relationship by not seeking to understand that they're there to give us a mirror of ourselves. We're looking, if you look external, you can't see it. When you begin to walk in love, you'll stop and accept and embrace what they're really doing is trying to better you. So when Sharon was talking and when you were talking, I kept thinking about what Jeannie told me this weekend, and how to handle the mirror, you know. And if you look at it like that, it actually takes all the fear out of it, and you will embrace. We all have areas of our life that we must improve. And if you're a lifelong student of this journey, you'll want to improve it. And that's what the chapter was really saying.
Well, can I interject something here?
Yeah.
Okay. Two powerful women had made me think about what I was doing wrong. And not because of doing it wrong, it's because of experiences and so forth. And I was wrong, dead wrong, for making assumption that they are ready to attack me, but not knowing who I am, and I was wrong in making them assume that they knew who I was. So yesterday I was into a conversation with a good friend, and she said some powerful stuff to me. And then I got off the phone. I was angry, and I said, "Wait a minute." I called another friend, and they said, "You were right, Terry, and she were right. Is that you was trying to console the friend, and the friend is all right, but you didn't see it that way, and you took it offense that she just bluffed you off. But you have to stop and putting your fears up front and let those fears side and see the person who they really are, and they can see who you really are." So yes, Deborah, I agree with you, and Rachel, I agree with you, is that we have to conquer those fears, and instead of being on the defensive for everybody who comes there who don't know you, they will leave off with that same result that you came into the conversation with.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much, Terry. I agree 100% with everything that you shared, and you know, and I just love your spirit, how you're, you know, willing to look at and say, okay, yep, I can, you know, I should have done this different, and we all need to be that way. We all need to get to the point where we're looking in the mirror, as Deborah likes to say, and see ourselves so that we can make change. We'll never change if we always think that we're right, and we, you know, we don't do anything wrong. And I think Jack asked the most powerful question. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I do? You know, and you should do that in every single relationship that you have. Ladies, be ready, because after the end of this panel, I mean, this hangout, we're going to be asking that question so that we can improve even this hangout. That is our goal, and our mission is to be better at everything that we do. Let's go ahead and move on to the next session that says, or the next section that says, you can't skip steps. And we learned about this with Stephen Covey. You cannot skip a step. You have to go through the process. So I think Lorraine said she would pick up the reading. Lorraine, you want to go ahead and start reading for us, please?
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Get back there. Okay. Let me just increase this a little bit. Okay, you can't skip steps. He who stops being better stops being good. Oliver Cromwell, British politician and soldier. From 1599 to 1658. One of life's realities is that major improvements take time. They don't happen overnight, but because of so many of today's products and services promise overnight perfection, we've come to expect instant gratification, and we become discouraged when it doesn't happen. However, if you make a commitment to learning something new every day, getting just a little bit better every day, then eventually, over time, you will reach your goals. Becoming a master takes time. You have to practice, practice, practice. You have to hone your skills through constant use and refinement. It takes years to have the depth and breadth of experience that produces expertise, insight, and wisdom. Every book you read, every class you take, every experience you have is another building block in your career and your life. Don't shortchange yourself by not being ready when your big break appears. Make sure you have done your homework and honed your craft. Actors usually have to do a lot of preparation, acting classes, community theater, off-Broadway plays, bit parts in movies and in television, more acting classes, voice lessons, accent training, dancing lessons, martial arts training, learning to ride a horse, more bit parts, until one day they are ready for the dream part that is ready for them. Successful basketball players learn to shoot with their opposite hand, improve their foul throw shooting, and work on their three-point shots. Artists experiment with different media. Airline pilots train for every kind of emergency in a flight simulator. Doctors go back to school to learn new procedures and obtain advanced certifications. They are all engaged in a process of constant and never-ending improvement. Make a commitment to keep getting better and better every day in every way. If you do, you'll enjoy the feelings of increased self-esteem and self-confidence that come from self-improvement, as well as the ultimate success that will inevitably follow.
You can keep going, Lorraine, please.
Okay, margin of greatness. In the sport of professional baseball, most respectable players bat an average of .250, or 1 hit for every 4 times they come to bat. If a .250 batter is also a good fielder, he can expect to do well in the majors. But anyone who hits .300, or 3 hits for every 10 times he comes to bat, is considered a star. By the end of a season, out of the thousands of players in the leagues, only about a dozen players will have achieved a .300 average. These hitters are honored as the greatest players, receive the multi-dollar player contracts, and land the lucrative commercial endorsements. But consider this. The difference between the truly great ones and the average players is only 1 hit out of 20. Wow. A player who bats .250 gets 5 hits in every 20 times at bat, but a .300 hitter gets 6 hits out of those same 20 times at bat. Isn't that amazing? In the world of professional baseball, the margin of greatness is only 1 more hit out of 20. It takes only a little extra bit of performance to go from good to great. Wow. That is outstanding. You know, it reminds me, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep going, but you know, it's like, you know, the thing that says, don't be disappointed with the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do. You know, it's just, if you're going to practice and you're going to get, you'll make it. If not, nothing's going to happen.
Absolutely. You know, Lorraine, when you were reading that, I actually thought about athletes. You know, the difference between an athlete who is a superstar athlete and an athlete that is just an athlete is the time and practice that they put in. My nephew won the silver for the Olympics last year. And, you know, it really, I started really like focusing on and paying attention to the difference between, you know, his peers who were playing, you know, sports and him. I mean, this boy woke up, he slept, he breathed, you know, jumping, you know. I mean, it just consumed his entire life. And, you know, you think about, you know, the average athlete that is successful, that's what they do. You know, they're there before practice starts, they stay after practice is over. They are continuing to improve their game. And we have to learn how to do the same thing with whatever we're doing. So if you say that you are a coach, then you need to constantly be going back to school. You know, just to think that, okay, I'm just a coach just because I say I'm a coach is not good enough. You actually need to do just like a doctor. A doctor has to go back and he has to improve his skill, or any other person that has a profession. If you're going to claim this as your profession, it's very important that you always improve your game. Anyone else want to come out and share? Scarlett, we haven't heard from you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you know, as you know, I've cheer coached for years, and although my child is not cheering this year, it frees me up to actually go back and coach again for the 9 and 10-year-olds, which I love. And I start tomorrow night a coaching class where I teach the coaches after 20 years. And so I've had to spend some time this weekend. They have this thing called the Summit, and they have this thing called World here in Orlando, and actually go and watch and review and, you know, go back through the rules. It's the same exactly what you're saying, is in order for me to be able to teach the coaches, I've got to go back and work on what I'm doing. The same with my husband. He's a fireman. He's a captain of the Hillsborough County here, and he teaches Fire Academy. And he is this week he said he was in school all week, and I thought, oh, you're teaching again? Because he taught the teachers, and he's actually in class learning this week. So it's, it's exactly what we're talking about. I mean, even these, first responders have to, 27 years he's been doing this. He teaches the firemen, but he still has to go back to school because, that's a life or death situation, and he's got to absolutely know that, the newest, greatest, best way to save lives. So I think this chapter, I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Miss Lorraine, for reading it.
Yes. And Scarlett, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I'm thinking about, there's many of us that are in the we're entrepreneurs, and we want to be the best. We want to be online. We want to succeed, but, we have to put in the time, just like a person goes to college. Many
Exactly.
of us come out here and we want to start making money in the first week. Sometimes that happens. It depends on what company you're with. And sometimes it does not happen as quick as you would like, but it's really important that you realize that it's all about improving your skill. The more you improve your skill, the better you're going to get, and the more that's going to be attracted to you.
Which is why this is so great, Miss Rachel, because this is personal developing, building us, as well as taking the time. I mean, I just spent on our drive to Jacksonville, my husband and I got to listen to the elite training all over again.
Awesome.
Just to hone in what I'm doing. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Exactly. Okay, so before we leave, I want to be able to hear from Sharon and Jody before we close this hangout. Do either one of you have anything you want to share with us?
Sure. Sorry I jumped in a little bit late here. I got hung up on a telephone call. But just listening to you guys read that last part about how, we need to have teach ourselves to grow as well. And especially in a business, and it's funny because my post yesterday that I did was all about you're in a business to make money. And a lot of people, they join a business because it was fun, or they had the shiny object syndrome, whatever that they joined a business for. But people will stay in a business because they're making money, and they'll jump from business to business because we've seen that happen if you're not making money in one thing. And before they become really part of the business and gone through, doing the steps, are you doing this, and this, people give up, I think, way too early before they even learn what they're supposed to do, and maybe attach themselves to someone who is getting results so they can learn from them. So I think that process of learning all the time and making sure that you're in a business to make money is probably one of the big key elements.
That's right, and it takes skill in order to make that money. So thank you very much, Jody. Sharon, did you want to add anything to that?
I wanted to add that, to be successful, people try to come in and just jump in and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make money, but they don't want to follow the blueprint. They want to skip steps. They want to try to find a shortcut to do it, and there are none. It's not as easy as everybody say it is. You have to follow the plan or the guidelines or the path so that you can achieve your dreams and goals. You have to practice, 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 and practice some more to learn the skills necessary to be able to go and achieve your dreams and goals. You have to get the knowledge, you have to get the skills, you have to have the right mindset, and you have to follow the plan and do not skip steps to make sure that you reach your goals and dreams and your financial independence.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So basically, you just have to follow the process. Just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone that came out. Hopefully you found value in our hangout today. Hopefully there was some nuggets that you took away that's going to help you to be a better person. because that should be our ultimate goal, is to becoming a better person. If you found value in this information, we're going to ask that you like, comment, share our YouTube channel, subscribe, and don't forget to come back and visit with us. We're here Monday through Thursday at 12 o'clock. And on Friday, if you are in a situation where you are needing someone to help you mastermind your business, we are available on Fridays to help you out. So connect with the person that invited you here to get the information so that we can actually mastermind with you and help you get to where you desire to be. With that being said, we just want to remind you also to, if you would like the book and be able to read with us, you can go over to get with the person that invited you, get their Amazon link, and go over to Amazon and order the book. And don't forget to join us in our book club on Fearless Online Entrepreneurs over on Facebook. Take care. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place.